my dear friends. It's Nanny from Nanny and the Moose. Today, Moosey is going to join us. I'm looking at him right now, looking very preppy in his prep school sweater. And we're going to discuss somewhat of our beginnings from our marriage. Now, I did discover that in a past video that we did on our 60th anniversary, and that was about 1.5 years ago, and I believe it was called Secrets to Reaching Our 60th Anniversary, something like that. It was very long. I think it was 38 minutes, but we sat up at Colleen's house outside, and there must be 100 pictures, Moose. What do you think?
Yeah.
Close to that of our life with our children and without, of places we've lived and things that we've done, travels, wonderful pictures that are on that video. And I spent a lot of time editing it. Moosey spent a lot of time finding all the pictures on the computer. And I don't think we should repeat a lot of what we said in that. We did talk all about our early lives together and our opinions about what makes a happy marriage. So if I can remember how to do it, I'm going to put up in the right-hand corner the video itself. And all you will have to do, I might have to get Ryan, my granddaughter, to help me, but all you will have to do is to click on it and it will take you to that video. So if you really want to see all the pictures, we'll put a few more pictures on this video, but we're not allowed to repost old pictures on YouTube, I don't think. So that's why I can't repost that one. But it's a fun video, and after you finish this one, do that. So I'm gonna get Moosey, and we're going to begin somewhere around our wedding time and moving right to Fort Knox, Kentucky. Are you ready to talk about some fun times?
Everything we did was fun.
It was. Okay, so we're gonna start with, we're married now.
Then we went on a honeymoon.
And then we went on a honeymoon.
It was fixed up by a friend of mine from Fort Knox. Fixed it all up and places to go each day.
We went to Cape Cod.
Cape Cod.
We had a great week, but the second week we had to be back at Fort Knox, Kentucky because Moose was on his leave. He was now a second lieutenant and had been there since the October before. We were married in July. So he was kind of a seasoned Army boy at this point. And we had a fun drive down. Car was packed with all my stuff, as Moosey called it. We had a great drive down. Took about, did we take it in 2 days?
Yeah.
We stopped halfway there. And we settled into a wonderful home, 2-story, lovely. These were like condos where the officers lived. Here we were, 23 years old, and I wasn't quite 23 yet. And we lived in this beautiful home. I started to teach, and Moosey went off to do his thing.
You know, that was a free house. All the lieutenants had a free house. 3 bedrooms, you know.
Yep. So what basically did you do? You know, just a quick run through of what your job was down there.
Well, because I could sing Danny Boy, the regimental commander took me on his staff, and I did that for about 6 or 8 months.
You sang Danny Boy for 6 or 8 months?
Yeah. But it was a fun job. It was athletics and recreation and so forth. And then I went down into the companies in this training regiment and did that for the other 6 or 8 months. And then it was time for me to get a company of my own.
Well, just basically tell them what Fort Knox was at that time and maybe still is. It's tanks, strictly tanks.
Yeah. And where I was in a training regiment that trained guys who had just come in for their 2-year stint, trained them to be tankers and then shipped them out. And we did the same thing over and over, 8 weeks. And that's why it was not a good assignment, but I had to trade for it in order to get married.
Right. But the fun part about it is we had a really unusual life. It was sad leaving home and leaving our parents. We did decide that we had it was a great experience for us as newlyweds to be just the two of us on our own. If we had problems, we solved them on our own. We didn't have parents, brothers and sisters, friends. We started off, we had a good beginning by having this in our life. It was a great life. I had little calling cards. It was very formal, different living. So it was a different way of living than what we were used to. If we visited someone, you would leave a calling card in a little silver dish. And I had to get my little silver dish, and we went to the officers' clubs for meals every Sunday. We went to the movies for 25 cents. And Moosey was one of the Colonel's boys. They loved Moosey. And he had a lot of fun down there.
Oh, Danny boy. Never mind.
The ladies love it when you sing. The pipes.
Anyway, don't go down that bunny hole. Anyway, I was still kind of an unsophisticated kid and had never had a lot of responsibility. But when I got the company, I had to, in fact, under the direction of my first sergeant, I had to break a sergeant, an old man, to corporal. And that, I think, friends, is when I grew up. I was no longer a college boy. I was a man who knew how to do important things.
And I think that helped you with the whole rest of your life and your career, being a leader. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we had so much fun there. We were there almost 3 years. And by the way, within 3 months, just the way I had wanted it, we were pregnant with Billy. And we had Billy at Fort Knox, which was a wonderful big hospital, the Ireland Army Hospital. Was that the name of it? And I was in a ward with probably 6 other women. We were in there for 5 days. Every time I went to the doctor, every month, saw the same doctor. It was a very big, with 90 other women having babies.
Doctor.
Saw a different doctor every time I went to the doctors. The doctor that delivered Billy I'd never seen before. But he was a wonderful, healthy baby boy. And when he was 6 weeks old, we took him home to be baptized and to meet the family, remember? And we drove home, and
I think it was for Christmas. Yeah, he was born.
It was Christmas. Wait, he had to be baptized.
Yeah.
And we did go home. Did we go home?
Twice?
Twice.
I don't know.
Yeah, and then we went home for Christmas. But it was a wonderful life. The socializing was fun. Picnics. My cooking wasn't so fun. The only thing I knew how to do was to do a chicken. My mother had showed me that. Now, Moose is a great cook. All his life, he made all the soups. I cook well now, but those
you came running to me
years...
when we first got there, we were going to cook this dinner with a box of bird's eye peas. And you read it to me and said, okay, put a half a cup of water in a pan, and when it comes to a boil, put the peas in for 6 minutes. Moosey, how do you know when the water's boiling? Oh my God.
Yes. I've come a long way.
Somewhere around the time I was supposed to get out, the Russians put up the Berlin Wall. And the president extended us all on for a year. So instead of going home after my 2 years, I had to stick around, which we did. I didn't much care, to tell you the truth.
No, we had this beautiful home.
Rent free, and you know.
And by this time I was pregnant with Dubby. Dubby and Billy are 14 months apart, and we were thrilled. So when we got out, actually we only spent 6 more months there because things calmed down. So he mustered out, and we drove home, found a cute little garden apartment fairly near both our families and all our friends. 2 bedrooms, cute little apartment. I proceeded to decorate it. Our rent, boys and girls and ladies and gentlemen, was $94 a month. Can you believe it?
Well, I could handle it because I work for an international CPA firm headquartered in New York, and they really nailed me with a big salary. $6,600 a year.
This was 1962, so
Yeah.
look what happens over the years.
Big money.
But that was, he was a college graduate. He rode the bus into New York City in an overcoat and an Homburg hat and suit. This is what they paid.
That's what they pay auditors to look like.
Yeah. By the way, I was a teacher. I had applied to teach before we were married at Fort Knox, Kentucky for the Department of the Army. And I was assigned to second grade in our neighborhood. So I would walk back and forth. In those days, you only had one car per family. In fact, for a long time, we only had one car in the family. And we saved my teaching salary, which was
about $4,500 a year.
Which was more.
And my pay was, I think, as a lieutenant, was $2,000.
Yeah. Well, the point was we were able to save money and have a lovely life at that point. So that kind of gave us a start in a little bit of our savings. Yeah. We lived in this little apartment for 2 years. And one day, after Debbie was born, she was about a couple months old, if that. We were out house hunting for a house because we figured, well, we had some money in the bank. Maybe we could buy a house now. So we went to an open house and we were looking at the models. And on the way out of one of the models,
icy driveway.
Yeah.
She's carrying Dub. Feet go out from under her, and she held the baby.
I pushed the baby to my chest.
And broke her wrist.
And broke my wrist here. Well, we had to go right to the emergency room, to a hospital. Baby was fine, never hit the sidewalk.
The good news was that we had a lawyer in the family who sued them for not cleaning up the driveway. And we got $2,700, which went into the pool to buy the house.
So we thought, okay, we'll start looking. We found this wonderful colonial home that was built in 1936. It was 40 years old. I remember it was 40 years old at the time. And it had been neglected. An old 74-year-old man was living there alone, and he had neglected it. A lot of little things needed to be done. But it was a beautiful home in a beautiful neighborhood. Much, much more lovely than what we thought we could afford. And we paid $20,000 for it and put our little down payment down. And I can't remember what our monthly payment was. And this is just to show you how different things were. What, $200 a month was it or something? I don't, if that even. Yeah. I don't really remember that. Yeah. But by that time we were expecting Matthew, and he was born in October, I believe, of that year. And that was a funny birth, but I was spreading topsoil on the front lawn. Moose had gone off to work. In those days, wives would drive their husband to the train station, the Lackawanna Railroad in New Jersey. And they would drop their husbands off in the morning, and then they would pick their husbands up at the train station at night. Well, I went into labor while I was spreading topsoil on the front lawn one morning after he had left for work. Had my 2 little toddlers, and I thought, oh boy, I better call him. Called him. He told me the train he'd be on. I drove to the train station after I had to get my feet all clean, take a bath and whatever. Got to the train station. I saw Moosey get off, and he starts running. I said, get in. He said, I'll drive. I said, no, I'm driving. Get in. And I drove to the hospital. Within half an hour, Moose left with the 2 children to go get my mother at Seton Hall. Matthew was born. So we had 3 babies by now, and in another 16 months, we had Margie. Oh, we were thrilled to death with our sweet little family. Mm-hmm. And we lived there in that lovely house. Our parents and our brothers and sisters helped to scrape the floors and put shiny varathane on them, and I loved wallpapering and painting. I did that for every house we ever lived in. I think I painted every ceiling and every wall.
Everything we did during those years, right out of the Army for, I guess, about 5 or 6 years, we did as a team.
We did.
Yep. Up to and including making babies.
Well, that too, yeah.
I hadn't learned anything for a couple of years. I was kept repeating what I was supposed to be doing as a CPA auditor. And I got an offer to go to Scotland from the Singer Company. And for 3 years to a factory over there in Scotland. I wanted it because I really wanted it because it was pushing my career and helping me to learn things. We talked it over. You and I talked it over. You teared up a little bit about...
Well, just because it meant leaving family once again for 3 years, but it was exciting.
It was an adventure.
We had never been to Europe, and Scotland, with its magical, everything we knew from storybooks, I was excited. It was wonderful.
So get on a plane and go to Scotland, but no. I was interviewed subsequently to the offer by the corporate controller of the Singer Company, who had been to Scotland, and he wanted to vet us to make sure that we would fit in over there. And he said, by the way, don't go on an airplane. Take the Cunard Queen Elizabeth over. Well, that's too expensive, isn't it, Dick? Now, you make a justification by putting cheap baggage down in the hold. You don't have to fly it over.
But the company paid for everything anyway. Why did we even worry about it? I don't know.
Because it was more expensive than an airplane.
Well, the day came, we sold our house, and the house sold, I think, within a week. And we did make a little money on it. Not too awfully much, but we put that in the bank.
We made $7,000.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a lot of money in those
days. We
days.
gave it to a broker who put it in one stock.
That's right.
I don't want to talk about that.
No, right. That was our one disaster in stocks, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, the day came when we set sail, and it was, the moving trucks had moved we put a lot of furniture into storage, but we did take a lot of things with us.
Wedding presents that we hadn't opened.
Oh, right. That's true. And I remember the 100-year-old bed that belonged to the Bishop of Bayonne that the girls slept in, and all our girls and granddaughters have slept in this bed. I'll show you that bed one of these days. But anyway, we set sail. And in those days, you had these bon voyage parties on a ship. Here we were, late 20s with 4 little babies. Margie was 18 months old when we moved over there, and they were all like a year and a half apart up. And Billy had just finished American kindergarten. So we had this bon voyage party. We all drove over to New York City. And
the whole 2 families were out on a deck around the pool. And there was an orchestra playing up on the next balcony. And people walking around, servants with champagne
and
I mean, what? I was 2 hours. We were 2 hours there.
And our families were there. Now
saying
it was a little sad because I could see every once in a while I'd look at my mother and I knew what was going through her head, that we were going to be gone, and all her little darling little grandkids, babies really. And we were so close. And I was so close to my dad. So that part of it was sad, but the excitement of going across the ocean, I think it took 7 days in those days, 6 or 7 days. And having this new life ahead, we were so blessed to have this opportunity. Who in their late 20s gets a chance to do something like this, especially in those days?
And Scotland was an adventure for me, was an adventure for her, was an adventure for both of us. And you want to do that now, or you want to do it the next issue of this?
Well, let's see how long this goes. I don't want to make these too long. I want you to enjoy these. Scotland was a wonderful time, and I think we should spend a little bit of time on Scotland because so many interesting things happened to us.
Yeah.
Encounters with the Moosey, with some gypsies in a caravan down in the Glen Cove in the Highlands, where Moosey came across this caravan and bought me jewelry, which I think I've showed you some of the jewelry that was bought from the gypsies, to the hiking on the weekends, to traveling all over Europe with the little children.
You'll tell them all about
all those things, and probably put more pictures on than might be in this anniversary video. So,
Okay.
So I think we'll tell some stories of the trip over some of the fun things we had. And I think we even have some old movies that if we could possibly figure out how to get little clips of these movies of the little kids dancing to music on the ship and us having fun and wonderful times. I think Moosey and I are enjoying the memories as we go here, aren't we?
Yeah,
It's wonderful bringing it all back. Today is a lovely day outside, and we've been hunkering down. We haven't been out of the house in a week. Would you like to go for some yogurt today?
Oh, yeah.
I think we will. I will wear my mask. We've had, I would say right now, 8 or 9 people within our family all have this Omicron. And we're being very, very careful. Big news. We have big news. Moosey and I have a new great-grandchild. Our granddaughter Molly, Dubby's daughter, day before yesterday, had a beautiful little Annie Grace, she has Kelly, who's not quite 2, and little Annie weighed almost 10 pounds. And she is beautiful, big chubby face and chubby cheeks. And Molly had a C-section, so she's still in the hospital. So we will send a picture of her maybe in the next video or 2 once she loses her newborn. She was a C-section, so she is a beautiful baby. I want to thank you for all your responses yesterday in the beginning of our life and lifestyle, the life of Nanny and Moose. I had a great idea. The way a lot of you read all the comments and commented to each other, we're beginning a forum here. And I love the idea that you are sharing your stories of your childhood, how it's added to your life in either negative ways or positive ways, what you did as you grew up, those of you that are younger, that are enjoying the story, those of you that are within our age group. All of you have so many similar backgrounds that I think this is fun. So feel free to go ahead, read all the comments, and respond. I noticed that Sharon, you know who you are. You always give the most beautiful responses to things, long, but I love every single word of them. And I think you had 17 or 20 replies underneath your story and your response to what we were talking about. And I think that's fabulous. So let's go ahead and see if we can keep this going and respond to each other, and this way we're becoming one big huge circle of friends. So I think we'll close with the anticipation of our Scotland trip coming up, and if we can just sit here and chat, or maybe outside in the next video, maybe we'll try and do it within the next 2 days if we can.
See how the weather
Nothing else to do,
outside.
right?
Yeah. Okay.
So thank you so much for watching. Once again, we love you all. Those of you who haven't subscribed yet, please think about it. We do have fun.
And because we're going to talk about Scotland, we could say goodbye by saying, should all tradition be forgot and never ought to. Old Lang Syne.
Old Lang Syne. We sang that a couple days ago, didn't we? I think we know some better Scottish songs.
See you next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
God bless us all.